everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's in the Tuber. Welcome back. This is your third Reacher Season 2 episode review. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying safe out there in the big old world of today as we draw closer to the holidays, which I'm assuming, because of me and just how things work in my scheduling, with just everything going on, I want to believe this is our last video before the holiday. So happy holidays to everyone, to seasons givings, to all happiness, you know, etc., because I honestly, it's been so long. This Christmas season has not been the most Christmas season I ever felt in a very long time, since there's been many different aspects of my personal life happening. So regardless, personal life aside, happy holidays. We will be back in a couple days to review the 4th episode of Reacher, and then we should be on track for a bit. We should be back to normal for a while, or whatever our case of normal happens to be. But anywho, yeah, here we are, the last of the first 3 that dropped, you know, trying to get us in there. And I'm gonna say again, the subtlety, like, I feel like for me personally, this episode had some of my favorite one-liners of the season so far. The ending was a little bit, like, again, for me personally, being a person, like, it takes a while for me to understand characters and figure out, you know, where things are going to fall into place. You know, I'm like a person, like, you need to hold my hand. You need to be, like, guiding me throughout this experience and, like, telling me flat out what's going on in a very obvious way. Because, again, I take so freaking slow. Like, I reviewed all of Doom Patrol, and I only discovered certain aspects about one of the characters' inner workings, which was explained in the first season, but I never really understood it till, like, season 3. So I'm very much like that as a type of person, but I still think this was a very fun episode. Again, showing how unstoppable this team is, just how determined they are. And, you know, again, once again, adding more layers to the mystery. You know, again, we are not closer to figuring out what the fuck is going on. You know, again, expectantly so, because we have an 8-episode run. There's no way they're going to drop every single ounce of information in the first 3 episodes. I knew that going into it. But I was not just surprised at how much more, you know, like, this episode felt a little too slow, and we only got certain revelations as we picked up a little bit towards the end. And again, you know, just again, like, the fact that we already spent, like, almost 3 hours with these human beings this season has made me just more inclined for, like, I would love to binge the rest of the season now, because it is so damn good. It really is. And, you know, the quality's just there. It always is. And yeah. After these 3, I'm very happy that I was able to, like, you know, kind of peter these out slowly to give me, like, a little bit, like, you know, some more time, so that when I get to episode 4, it's like, okay, wasn't that too much long of a wait, in my opinion. So with that being said, let's go for the butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of Reacher. So we begin with a flashback. It's Drew from Degrassi. We're actually getting the torture scene, which I'm like, damn. Like, you know, his face is bloody. These guys are, like, literally using him as a punching bag. And, you know, he's taking it. He's taking it like a man. He's taking it like a champ. You know, this ain't a high school beating anymore. And I'll stop with the Degrassi puns once they actually get him off the damn show. The villain, the guy from Peacemaker, he's, you know, once again telling him, like, are you ready to conceive? Are you ready to, like, tell me what you know, and you can maybe get out of this with some broken bones and some internal bleeding? He's like, no. He just spits him in the face with his blood. This kind of sends the guy over the edge. He grabs the rusty crowbar, which, you know, Reacher mentioned a while back, and bashes his freaking shins in, which I'm like, again, the shins are the weakest bone in the body. Literally, like, you only really need to, like, put a good amount of pressure in them, and you'll break them. They're, like, relatively, they're sturdy, but they're not durable, in my opinion, if that makes sense, if that really makes sense. So he breaks them, and he's like, okay, I don't know, we're not doing this torture thing anymore. We ain't gonna get anything out of him. We're gonna basically, you know, kill him, which is what they do. And then the extra mile, we actually are in the plane, and they bring down the gangway, and they're untying his belt so that he can, like, just drop off the plane. And he's just, like, smiling, saying that, okay, yeah, I might be dead. My wife is a widow. My child's going to grow up without a father. But when Reacher gets his hands on you, you're going to get it. And he says, like, the big guy. And I'm like, Jesus, even your dying breath, you're still, like, basically man-holding Reacher. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, after this entire, like, the first season, these 3 episodes, I would be the same fucking person, too. I really would be. And the guy's like, who the fuck is the big guy? And, you know, I actually find that, like, you know, like, it's, I don't know if it's Invincible inspired, but like they always like find a really good way to like set up the logo. Like, you know, they're about to say Reacher's name, or they're implying Reacher, or they're talking about Reacher, and then like literally the logo pops up. Hopefully the tradition continues. So we cut back to present day. I want to say they're still in Atlantic City. Reacher is trying to purchase some guns. However, because Jersey has specific gun laws and everything, even like the most shadiest of gun dealers still needs to do this by the books. Saying that, look, I can only give you one gun for 30 days, and then if you want to pick up the other guns, you gotta wait for another 90-day period. It was just like, and the way that these two people, like the actual owner and Reacher, both knowing about gun laws, they're just trying to like outsmart the other. And Reacher basically ends it with like, I'm gonna give you fucking a lot of money. Just look the other way for a few days. I'll come back with these guns. And he's like, all right, sure. You know, as a friend to you. So they're loading it up. The team's comparing their guns, like, you know, just on, you know, what their personality, which I'm like, again, I have a friend who's in the gun community, and I'm just like, I should understand it, but at the same time, I'm not. But I'm like, you know what? It is what it is by that point, mind you. So they just figure out their next steps. They're back in New York, you know, considering the mess they left in Jersey. They got to kind of go back because, again, like in the last episode, there is no trail in Jersey. Everything is back in New York. And now that they got the lead for New Tech, that's where they gotta go right now and just figure some things out. Sadly, they're interrupted when a police cop intercepts them and pulls them over, saying that, like, you gotta stay put for a while before someone else comes in for you. And we're just like, okay, I guess we can finally use this time to take a nap. It turns out the guy that Reacher kind of bashed into his face last episode is back. No major injuries, thankfully. Must have all been internal bleeding or something like that. And yeah, he's mad at Reacher. He's here to arrest him, and Reacher's is like taking it like, okay, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do, mind you, because Reacher knows somehow he's gonna get out of this, you know, pretty much scot free. And he just remember, hey, O'Donnell, you studied law for a bit, right, in Rutgers, and like, you know, just the shit talking in Rutgers, which I'm like, is it about university? I don't really know. I never applied there when it was time for me, so I'm like, who the hell knows? So he tries to play the lawyer spiel, and I'm like, I've seen plenty of lawyer shows, and what I mean by that, I've only seen Better Call Saul, and even I know Saul Goodman's better than this goddamn bastard. So they get in the car together, and, you know, they're just trying to see if they can find a way to avoid the station right now, and, you know, they're not really, like, you know, the banter between Reacher and anyone, you know, in anything we see him so far is just like, it's gold, it's comedy gold. We're like, either Reacher's gonna be your best friend, he's still gonna be an asshole to you, or you can be his enemy, and he's still going to be an asshole with you. You're basically getting Reacher all the time, which I'm like, you know what? I respect the equality. I'm always about equality. So Neagley, and I promised I would remember her name this episode, but I did not. Surprisingly, even I forgot. I didn't really remember it. I'm sorry. So they go to New Tech by themselves. They talk to the receptionist, asking her questions about, like, you know, just this person and everything. She's like, well, I really shouldn't be able to do this for you because, like, there's thousands of people that works for us. We have thousands of people coming through these doors every day. But you know what? You're speaking to me nice. I'll do the research for you. So meanwhile, over across town, Reacher, again, in handcuffs, which, again, like, this guy could easily just, like, pull them off with these. I mean, come on. This is nothing, to be honest with you. It's like in Man of Steel where, like, Superman's getting taken away by soldiers, and they put handcuffs on him, which I'm like, again, he is a fucking super being. Like, generic handcuffs aren't going to do shit, which I'm like, it's just so hilarious. Eventually they deduce that the officer doesn't really have any real causality to arrest Reacher. He's just doing this just to be a dick. So he's making them a deal like, you know, I won't press official charges on you for, you know, assault of a police officer if you tell me what you know. And Reacher's like, well, you know what? We need some allies, you know, considering the fact that so far the police hasn't really caught on to that we're on this case, so fine, we'll give you some information about what we know, which, again, even the information they give him is, like, pretty limited, mind you. And the officer retorts with his own information that they do have a potential suspect in this entire investigation, which is a man that is AM. Well, he's using another of his aliases, and Reacher's like, that's the guy. Like, you know, that's the guy that our team was our friends were looking into, so that must be the guy, which I'm like, great. And so Reacher gives him all the aliases they have so far, run them in the system, see if they can find anything about the guy that's, you know, recent to go find him. So they stay put for a little bit. we did get a very offhanded flashback, which I'm like, I guess the credibility or like the overall, importance will be later on in the season. But we see Reacher O'Donnell like years before investigating this bar fight gone wrong, supposedly, but it's not really. We see the other member that's on their team now also there. We see another member of the team, which we haven't really spent too much time in so far. His name is Sean, I want to say, or something like that. So they're investigating. Their commander shows up, and again, it's just banter shit. Like, this was just kind of like a random scene, but again, I'm pretty sure the importance will come in due time. And also is again, like, giving more flashbacks to like, what the team was up to during their heydays. Meanwhile, the others have found a name associated with the parking pass that they managed to find over. It's a cleaning company that offered for their services, but since they were kind of too small to clean such a big surface, they were passed over. Supposedly on paper, that's the paper reason to why they were there, and they're like, okay, thank you. We will do what we can with this information and, be on our merry way. So yeah, Reacher decides to be in partnership with the officer just for the time being, since like, they need the ally and everything. Reacher's free to go, which is around the same time as they're heading back. They're also looking into the numbers again while they're waiting for the others to come back over. She realizes the maths woman, the one who's really good with math. Sorry, again, I'll know these names eventually in due time. I want to say, yeah, so she apparently figures out that all of these numbers are dates. They're not fractions, they're dates, which I'm like, again, once you know the answer and you read it, it makes fucking sense. Before you even know the answer, it doesn't make sense. This is the way how my brain works, to be honest with you. It really is. So she cracks it, and it's like, okay, so they've been tracking something for 7 months. What is this thing they're tracking for 7 months? What does it have to do with anything with the $650 million, that's supposedly at play here? Meanwhile, across state lines, they figure out about AM. They've managed to get a lead on him. He's got a ticket to come to JFK, which is, okay, this is great. Once he gets to JFK Airport, we're going to intercept him, and that should be it. However, this guy, being a trained criminal, notices all sorts of cops around him, again, even in like civilian gear, regular gear. Like, he knows, like, shit, I've been made. So he dips. He just gets a rental and decides to, get to his destination. He calls over the big bad and tells them, look, I'm sorry, but, I got made. All my aliases have been burned. There's no reason to use them anymore, so I'm going to get there the old-fashioned way by driving. I will be late by some time, but I assure you the deal's still happening. And, again, the overall questionability, like, what the fuck's going on, is, again, at high here, because I'm confused as hell. What the hell's going on? Is it money? Is it weapons? Is it drugs? I don't fucking know. But we'll eventually get the answer in due time, so... sadly, it got blown, but right now all they can do really is just, be on standby, and hopefully something else will come up for them to look into. So Reacher and O'Donnell return back to the others. They get filled in about the whole dates thing, which I'm like, great, that's a great opportunity, but like, again, that doesn't really lead them to nowhere. Like, it's a new piece of evidence, but like, they don't have anything else to go with. They then decide to explore the cleaning company, let's say that, by calling up the grandma of all people just to verify the address. Again, how do they get this information? I really don't fucking know. And the grandma's such a sweetheart. Like, she has no idea what the fuck's going on, that her baby boy is involved in criminal activity. So, what do they decide to do once they confirm the actual address for this location? They fucking blow it up. Like, literally, it's not even a smoke bomb. It's an actual detonated bomb that they throw into a house. There are going to be kids in here, all we know. Maybe they were. They're probably like, yeah, there'll be no kids in here. You never know. Could be bring your son to work day because, your baby mom was like not taking care of her for the day. It could be any reason. I'm like, damn. So immediately they go in, they clean up shop. They're like, they just take out everyone with relatively ease. Again, these are the special investigators for a reason. They are not taking shit from no one. So they take out the whole house, but they notice one person getting away in a car, a bigger dude, which I'm like, okay, he got away. We're going to have to wait till next episode or a couple of episodes from now to go find him again. No, we're just like, fuck that shit. We are running for this guy. He is running. This big behemoth of a man is still running probably faster than I ever will. He's jumping through fences. He's doing all sorts of crazy shit. And I'm like, and even Neagle's trying to like be his compass of sorts. And eventually he's just like, I give up. He throws a barbecue grill in the freaking guy's windshield, to take him down. And all this excitement for this guy, sadly, it's too much for his heart. And I'm gonna get to that line, like my favorite line in the episode in a second. Reacher tries to, like, question him and everything, but the guy's like having a heart attack in the middle of all this, and Reacher's like, "You gotta be fucking kidding me! Like, the only fucking usable guy we have, and he dies." Which I'm like, that's hilarious. That really is. So they regroup. Sadly, once again, like the other three guys from before, we got nothing. They have no IDs, nothing on them to, like, even give them a source of a lead. So they got no choice but to go back to the motel and just wait for the detective to come in. All mad as fuck. Like, again, you blew up a house in Queens in a suburban neighborhood. You were not expecting this to be on the radar of any police station nearby. That, like, oh my god, it's a freaking, like, I live in Queens. I won't say where, but, like, if anyone blew up a house here right now, and hopefully not my house, yeah, of course everyone's gonna be fucking, like, all over that shit, because, like, it's not common. It really isn't. And again, maybe that's the smart way, why criminals wouldn't know, they wouldn't know that they're there, which is actually pretty smart. So the detective, like, they just chime in. He's just, like, so mad at them, of everything. And the funniest line is, like, Reacher, like, says, like, well, we found the ID off the guy. And he's like, okay, which guy was it? The guy you shot? The guy you blew up? The guy you punched? Or the guy that you barbecued? He's like, technically, I threw the barbecue at him. The heart attack was what killed him. Trans fats killed him. Which I'm like, Jesus, Mary and me. I'm like, oh, I love Reacher so much. He just knows how to deliver a one-liner. And the thing is, the one-liner's not even a joke. It's a fact. So the detective's still mad at them. It's like, okay, well, the cops were all over it. We did a report. So you guys are not on the official report. But this is the only time I'm doing this favor for y'all, because, I need your help. This is the only, the only helpfulness you're going to get from me from now on. So please, stay out of trouble. Stay in this motel room. I will call you when we need you. No cowboy shit. And what does Reacher decide to do as soon as he leaves out the door? We're going to do some cowboy shit. We're going to break into New Tech, which I'm like, oh my god, this man just does not stop. The action does not stop. And the fact that they actually, they use the guy that dies, they use this car to break into New Tech in, like, by freaking backing it up. Like, again, the freaking, this man is so skilled that he's just so skilled. I don't even have a comparison, because there is no comparison. That's just how amazing he is. And again, am I so manhandling him myself? Of course I am. That's just how I am. So he backs up the car. He backs it up. He doesn't even drive for. He's like, nah, I'm not gonna drive through the building. I'm gonna back into the building, which is what he does. The four split out. They're going, like, they're gonna grab everything, data drive, anything they can get their hands on to even get a remote chance of what the hell's New Tech working on. Reacher finds this one very suspicious picture. And even before Reacher, like, before they split up, they're like, if anything happens, if I get delayed, just leave me. And they're all three of them are in the car, and they're like, Reacher's not here, we gotta leave him. So they're about to leave him, and then Reacher's just running, and I'm like, damn. Just imagine if they just left Reacher, and they're like, nah, we're just gonna stop. The police won't catch us here. So they're in a random parking lot. They burn all their, like, identifying evidence. And they look at the photo, and apparently one of their own, Sean, the guy from the flashback, which I guess is the importance, is in that picture, meaning that one of their own was working with New Tech. So the plot is thickened. So was this, like, again, this adds more questionability to, like, what the hell's going on here. But sadly, that was it for this week's episode of Reacher. So again, for me, yeah, this was the perfect way to end off these 3 episodes. I think this was definitely, like, you're hooked into it. You got enough facts to know about, enough questions to figure out what the hell's going on. The pieces are, like, placed in about. We're taking off pieces off the board. We're making alliances. We're doing all these sort of things. The villain's not really doing shit. Again, I love the villain's actor so much because, again, he was amazing on Peacemaker. So him just being a total dick. But, like, again, we should figure out what the dick's intentions are first before we rank him in general speaking. So, like, we'll see how that goes eventually. But again, so far, loving the show. I love this episode so much, and I can't wait to see, what the heck, how does Sean having to play with this? How do we get to see any of the other special investigators? What the hell's going on here, considering the fact, the 9 of them have become just 4, and the 5th one is still kind of like that MIA question mark. We don't really know what's going on anymore. But for me, I'm going to give this episode 2 thumbs up. I really enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this week's episode of Reacher. I'd love to hear your comments down below, as always. but I believe that's going to do for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's to Do from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the second season of Reacher. If you want to know what I'm doing normally, What's to Do besides our Reacher episode reviews, right now we're only just doing Reacher. We should have a Doctor Who review special at some point in the coming weeks. But other than that, we will be back in a few days for another Reacher episode review, so stay tuned until then. But again, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. Like, favorite, share if you want to. Ring that bell and follow us on social media. But until we see each other again, thank you so much for watching. Please stay safe out there. Be good to each other. And as always, peace out.